Now, glad to have you back. Speaking of the photography industry, did you know that about 1.81 trillion photos were taken worldwide every year, creating, or the reason being of the power of creating memories via the art of photography cannot be overemphasized. Today on SME Up, we'll be focusing on the business side of photography and vis-a-vis what it takes to be successful in such endeavors. With me is Mushokbe Ononusi. She's the lead creative and CEO of Photo Bearing Studios. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So now let's dive into it straight up. So while I was growing up, I got used to seeing photographers rush to the lab, to quickly print out, copies of the pictures that they actually took. But now it seems it's different. It has the ideology behind that has changed. What would you say is behind that?
Okay, so for me, we all grew up seeing them do that. Okay, for me, I think change is the only constant thing. And we have moved from, we like you said, growing up.
Okay.
Now you are an adult, and then so things have changed from the way we used to do it to a better way of doing things. So I think it's just growth that has happened too.
Okay, I don't know if I'm wrong, but there's this stereotype that comes with photography. When a woman, you hardly see women dive into photography. So why photography? Why did you choose photography?
That's not correct anymore.
Oh, really?
We have thousands of women in photography today because I think it's just growth that is happening to everybody. Before you see some, professions that is just strictly men. But today, you find women everywhere because we can all do these things. It's what you think you can do actually. So for me, photography, I didn't even know I was going to do photography, right? I trained as an HR professional, I had my certification. I thought I loved to wear the suit, to work in a corporate environment, wear my shoes, and that was what I wanted to do. But along the line, then I have passion for people, right? So by the time I had my certification, I was still feeling unfulfilled on my table. Like when I move out of my house, every morning I see children laying around. I'm like, what is happening? I want to help them. Like somebody asked me, why do you want to do photography? I said, I wanted to be Jesus. I wanted to be a savior, saving people on the street. And then I felt that my job then could not even save me. Let you know, saving another person. So I kept asking questions. What else can I do? What is happening? What can I do? And then I kept praying. I'm a Christian. I kept praying, and then what kept coming to me was, what's in your hand? What's in your hand? By then, I picked up interest in photography. But then it was just like one side thing. It wasn't really, I thought to myself, I can't do this thing. I'm just doing it by the side, just like an hobby, and then it dawned on me that I had to go, master it so that I will be able to tell people's stories, shoot them in their essence and project who they are. And that's why I'm here.
So how long have you been in the business, and how has the experience been like so far?
Okay, so I actually opted out of corporate job 2016. It was tough. It was my boss thought I was going nuts. Like, how can you? You just had your certification. You're supposed to. But I had to. And then 2016, I went for training, stayed with my boss, had to do a lot of things. And then officially 2019, I registered my business. And then.
So how has the experience been like?
Okay, so starting out, like people would say, it felt like once I start photography, I was saving the world. I was picking money on the streets of Lagos. and then reality.com came. I'm like, okay, so you have to calm down and learn the business. So meanwhile, I was learning how to take pictures. Then you have to learn the business of your skill, of your profession, because they are two different.
Can you break that down?
The art and the business, they are two different things. You might know how to take pictures, and they will just be lying on your system, and your bank account will not have a testimony of it.
Okay, before we go forward, can you like expatiate how the business of photography?
Okay, the business of photography is not just about taking pictures. It's far beyond taking pictures. And the business of every trade is beyond knowing the art of that, like carpentry, fashion design. You can know how to make good clothes, and then somebody somewhere that is just having the business sense is taking all the money. So we have some people even in photography that do not carry cameras, but they're making money.
Okay.
So you just have to learn the business.
Okay. So how profitable?
How to, get your clients, retain them, give them the service that would hold them down, and then all this after sales, marketing, follow up, and all that. It's a lot of things aside taking pictures.
It's a whole lot of things. So how profitable? Since it's stressful, stress comes a lot of money.
Yeah,
I guess.
Business is stressful.
Okay.
It's just that some has to take a lot of mental work than physical work. But photography is both, because you have to use your body and then you have to use your mind. Like I will tell people, photography is not about cameras. But first is your mind, what you can see and all that. So it's very profitable, very, very profitable. If it's not profitable, we won't have thousands of people doing it in Lagos. Lagos alone, I'm sure we have more than 5,000 photographers in Lagos alone. If it's not profitable, we won't be doing it. And you won't have a lot of men doing it because they have to, be the breadwinner of your family. So if you have a lot of men doing something that means, then it's profitable.
Right. Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's my own submission on how to assess what is actually profitable, especially when you have married men doing it and they are making way. It's profitable.
So yeah, starting out, how were you able to invest, into the business?
Okay, so you start like I said, it felt like I was starting out on a zero level. And then I had to go learn. It was funny because years back, when I had the fee for a photography school, I was like, that's crazy. How? Who will pay that kind of money? Like, are you serious for photography? And then by the time I was ready, it was ×2. I had to pay. It was $250 as far back as 2016. The set after me paid $400. It was funny, wow. It's crazy. But by the time you see all the curriculum and everything, and then eventually what it turned out to be, you're like, oh, yeah, it's worth it.
So after learning, did they set you up, or you still source for funds?
Yeah.
To set yourself up?
This is Nigeria. You're just paying for knowledge.
Wow.
Yes. It was worth it actually, because we're open to so many things. And the person that trained me is this open person that, is always, giving you stuff that will keep you on your feet, and then sending you to places where you can make contacts and all that. So it was a beautiful experience altogether. So
how long did it take you to recover from the whole investment, from learning to wanting to start?
You can't recover.
Why?
You can't recover. Because photography is a business that, if you're not careful, you keep buying and buying and buying and buying until you don't. So that's why you have to learn the business so that you know how to prioritize what. So it's something that by the time you get more skilled on it, you would recognize what you need that is essential for you, and then you keep upgrading yourself. You keep upgrading. So it's not something that you keep getting better at. So it's not
something that you just...
It's not something that you say, I have arrived, like, I am there now.
You're ready.
Yeah, something like that.
Now, speaking about essentials, that's equipment. When it comes to sourcing your cameras, how do you source for your cameras, and how much in the Forex market can we say a cam actually cost?
Well, okay, so since we know that it all depends on the FX market, right? Because we don't produce here. I would advise, okay, generally, people starting out may not be able to afford a new camera or new gadget, new gears. We call them gears. But of course, somebody into photography has been there, been able to price well, been able to get his financials, will be able to. But somebody that is just starting out may not be able to. So I'll just advise that whoever should start from where they are. And for me, I don't think that that's even the first thing to think about, really. Because starting out in photography, you don't even know what you want to do. I ran a training some weeks ago, and then in my registration form, I asked if they had cameras, but it wasn't compulsory. What was compulsory was a system, because somebody can borrow you a camera. There are like a number of people renting cameras out and all that, but they won't rent you a system. They won't. So what is essential really is your mind. What's your mind, how you can build your mind to see, and then your system. Then if you understand the business of photography, then you can price well and then get the equipment that you need for each job on the fee that your client
charge
your client. Acquiring cameras and gears and all that requires you to understand what you're doing, so that you know what to purchase per time. And if it's not that essential, you can always rent.